I'm not really, I don't have a formal script for this, so I'm kind of just, I have like a tiny script, but essentially the question I'm posing is, could the For Honor community have its own content revolution? Before I answer that question, I think I should define what a content revolution is. So I don't know if this is the actual name for the phenomenon itself, but it's basically where like the community outside of the game has like a sort of renaissance where there's a lot of unique, diverse content being posted. There's a lot of high effort, like high quality content being posted. There's a shift in the culture of both content creation and content consumption within the community. And I think the best way I could, or the best example I could pick out that has happened in recent history that most people would probably know would be like Rainbow Six Siege. They had Jinxie. I'm sure many of you, I mean, Rainbow Six Siege is a fairly popular game, but even if you haven't played it, you would probably know who Jinxie is because that's how wide-reaching his effect was. Basically, like even people who've never even played the game or barely like casually consume content about the game every now and then know who Jinxie is, right? And so essentially, the question I'm posing is, could that happen within the For Honor community itself? I'm just going to answer my question really quickly. I think the answer is yes, but with a very big asterisk right next to it, because with the current climate we're at, I don't think it's very likely. I think there is certainly, this community has the propensity, or the capacity, I think is, I don't know what propensity even means. I think it has a capacity to achieve that same sort of content revolution, quote unquote. But a couple of things need to happen first. So I have my bullet points here. So the first thing I think we would need for such a shift in what content is made and how it is consumed in the foreign community is we need a restructuring of what content is made in general. So I mean, you know what, like I could just look up on YouTube right now. I'm gonna do this right now. So like I'm on YouTube right now, right? And what the hell is my recommended, bro? What? Okay. So like if I look up right now, For Honor, right? So I mean, we look at like the first things we see. Okay, I guess this is kind of a bad time to post this because it's literally where people are watching like the new season stuff. I think this is more representative of what we see usually. Okay, I did not mean to click on that. But like this is exactly what you see. It's like a still image of Hero and then big text sometimes. Maybe there's not always big text. Sometimes there's a little message like, oh, someone left the game, where someone's typing something racist in chat or something. This is also different because this guy's not a For Honor YouTuber. Okay, that's me. I just watched this video actually. I like this guy's video. I thought it reminded me of like my first For Honor video. I was very pleased by watching that one. Relatively speaking, most things here are very similar to one another. I mean, let's have it. I mean, to be fair, like this, you could compare this kind of thumbnail to like 8 different For Honor YouTubers, and it'd probably all look the exact same with very slight variations. And I'm not saying that to like rag on these people, but it's just the content that's made right now is very similar to one another. There's not a lot of uniqueness in the way. I mean, like, look at this. This is not even, this is Subway Soul. This is a completely different person with a completely different style of, you know, video creation, but like it's the same thing. And then here's John DeLiner with the exact same thing. Raptor Rexes look different, but this is such an ugly thumbnail. I don't even know what it is. I mean, it's I'm not trying to shit on it, but it's such an ugly thumbnail. It's like I don't understand what's going on here, dude. Like if we take to the example of something like Team Fortress 2, right? This is completely anecdotal. I'm going off the top of my head, right? I think one of the main reasons why the game has always been relatively popular, at least, is due to the incredible skill in both editing, photoshopping, modeling, rendering, stuff like that, that the community had. Like people like Lazy Purple, Uncle Dane, is his name Soundsmith? I think it's Soundsmith, right? I mean, I know they don't do all of their work entirely by themselves, but the stuff they would put out was a culmination of skills that the community, the content creating community had at that time. And right now, we don't really have that in the foreigner community. First of all, we are all very secular to one another. We stay away from like community driven content creation, and that's actually another point I have. I'll elaborate on further. And not only that, but we don't really share the tools that we have or the skills and tools that we have access to, and that's wow, there's a lot of important things I'm touching on here. I will get into that in another video, and you guys will see what I mean by that, I guess. But it's simply because we're not really collaborating too much in the effort to try and make our content better. I mean, you'll see like collaborations sometimes between 2 For Honor creators, but literally all they're doing is they're playing together. And I don't really necessarily blame them. First of all, because these skills are hard to learn, and most people have lives outside of, you know, making videos and shit like that. But also because of the next point I'm about to get into, and that's that we don't have a lot of tools given to us by the developers in order to create better content. Like, for example, when I made that little intro for the Centurion video, if you've watched that one, I have to work with other people. It's usually just my friends, right? In order to, like, record stuff in the spectator mode, because we don't have our own respective replay mode where we could record things completely by ourselves and of our own characters. We have to get someone else as an actor to play something out that we have to tell them to do. I don't even know if it's realistically possible to have a replay mode, and that's not the only thing I feel like we would need to have, you know, better content creation skills in general. But I feel like there's a lot more things that the devs could do to help push content creators to make better or higher quality content. And off the top of my head, I can't really think of any more. I definitely do have some. I just woke up like an hour ago, so I don't have, my head's not entirely straight. But if I could think of them while I'm editing, I'll probably put up like a little list of things I think the developers could do. But even beyond just like the role of the developers and the content creators themselves play in this, yeah, the next point of what I think we would need in order for a content creation revolution, oh my god, I'm so tired, would be that we need a greater sense of centralized community, and we need less reliance on singular like content creators. Because like I said before, not only are the content creators themselves very secular from one another, the community itself is very divided in a sense. If we take the example of like Zanny, right? I'm gonna show off just how impactful Zanny was to this community. I've watched like 2 Zanny videos in my entire life, and neither one of them were on For Honor. It was Battlefront 2 and it was Dune Awakening. And even I know like is that for ROM reference? Because my friends would constantly say it, and people in the community constantly say it, and you always see it in like comment sections and shit like that. And it's not because For ROM was actually the epicenter of that phenomenon. It was entirely a phrase coined and overused by Zanny, to the point it became an inside joke that the entire community knew. And that's exactly what we're missing. Like, we don't have that sort of, ever since Zanny has left this community, that centralized not just figure, but centralized sense of community is kind of fractured. Not only because a lot of people who used to play back then no longer play anymore, but also because it feels like no one or no group, I'll add that, it doesn't have to be one person, but no one or no group has ever tried to come and fill the void that a creator like Zanny or Marco Yolo left, right? Like, these are people who are very synonymous with the game, even though that's not like the only thing they do anymore. And matter of fact, they're probably more well known for the things they did outside of this game. And I'm not even saying like we need to be, when I say that, I don't mean like, why has no one come and try to do literally the exact same thing Zanny did? Because I'm pretty sure there's been at least like a couple people to try to do that, right? What I'm saying is that no one has tried to take the same spot as being the pillar of the community. And obviously it's not something you just set out to do and just do, you know? I'm pretty sure even Zanny didn't mean to do it when he, you know, was like the main content creating figure. But people are they're very comfortable with the way not only the community but the content creation scene has been for the last couple of years. And it's not so much so because they think it's a good thing, but more so because of a couple of reasons I'll get into right now on why such a thing hasn't happened. So this is like the next segment of the video, right? So obviously stagnant content, I've already gotten into that, right? Everything looks the same, new skills aren't being passed throughout the community. A lot of the content that is created is usually very surface level. It's very uninformed, or it's very just, you know, you don't really interact with it, you just watch it, right? But the main reason for that, which is probably the biggest reason why I think none of this has happened yet, is that the effort to output ratio for like creating content is very, very low, or it's at least not favorable to the person who's making the content, right? So like, I'll take the example of, let's see, and obviously I'm not trying to put myself on a pedestal here, but when I'm gonna say this just to show you what I mean. Like, I'll use a Gladiator video. The Gladiator video I made, it took me around, I'd say 50 to 60, maybe even 70-ish hours to complete over the course of a whole month. So I was grinding that video. I was learning a bunch of new skills. I was actually putting all of it together. It took a lot of time. So 50 to 60-ish hours of straight working on one video, right? That I make like once a month. And I post it, and even to this day, it's got 17k views, right? It's pretty respectable in the For Honor community, because we don't. There's not even like the biggest content creators only get like 20k views. But I'll look this up right now. Raptor Rex. No, that's a stream. Boom. 4 days ago, are For Honor's maps perfectly balanced, perfectly made, or problematic? Let me take a screenshot of this so I can put it in a video. And I'm gonna. This is not really fair because I'm just gonna skim through the video, but I've watched like 2 Raptor Rex videos in my entire life, and they were all kind of the same. So it's gonna be his character floating in the bottom right corner. That's already what the opening is. Yep. Yeah. I wouldn't imagine. I'm not gonna. Again, I'm not trying to downplay on people's, like skills and the effort they go through to make videos and stuff. But realistically, that probably only took him like at most like 10 hours, maybe 20-ish hours to create, right? And especially since he's been doing this for a long time, so he probably knows how to do things more efficiently and what's worth it to edit and what's not worth it to edit. So it probably took him at most 10 or 20-ish hours, and he got the same amount of views as me in 4 days that it took me, like, I don't know, like 5 months, or not, like 3 months probably. And it's not so much so that I'm like, oh, that guy doesn't deserve it. It's because what I'm trying to get at here is, why put in so much effort to make a really good, highly edited video from that took a lot of time to learn the skills to make, when you could just shit out a discussion video that will either inevitably do well because you're creating a discussion where people are going to be writing comments, which will it'll get the algorithm going and whatever, or it will just do well because you're already a well-known figure in the community. It doesn't, the effort to output ratio is very low there, because there's just no incentive to try and do that. I'm probably at the point where I could just start shitting out discussion videos and do pretty well. I should probably just do that on this channel, honestly. I think I'm gonna start doing that. And so the incentive for content creators to actually try and branch out and do different things is extremely I don't know what the opposite of lucrative is, but it's the opposite of lucrative, right? Like, let's say Havoc tried to make like a masterpiece, probably the best video that has ever been made in the For Honor community, right? And so he stopped posting for like maybe a week or 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, maybe a month. Maybe it takes a whole month like I do to make a video, right? And then he posts it. So it's either he spent all that time and he's gonna get the same amount of views. It'll get slightly more, which it could because of how well made it is. People start sharing it and stuff like that. But it probably wouldn't be too drastically different from what he usually gets. And then the main downside is, what if he took all that time and effort to make a video and then it just flopped? So that's the main thing that's stopping for a humongous cultural shift in how we create content for Honor. Another one is, like I touched on before, is that we don't have any unifying figure or figures, like plural. Like I said with Zanny, like the changes he made culturally in the community were like, we literally say things that he used to say like 7 years ago to this very day, because it's like an inside joke that has spread so far, it's basically become a community-wide joke. And we don't have like that sense of a community-wide like solidarity, I guess you could say. And so in conclusion, this change I think is very much able to occur, but it would need to be something we have to start building towards. Like, it's not something that can happen instantaneously and just, oh, it's all peachy and dandy. And the main downsides is that it would take a lot of effort. And the way I see it is, likely the people who would be setting it up wouldn't really get the glory from it, the quote-unquote glory from it, right? Like, if we were setting up for this sort of shift in how content creation was made, what would likely happen is a lot of people would be building towards it, and then one or two people would become like the epitome of it, and their stuff would be really good, but they would basically, in the eyes of the the wider online community, is that they would be the ones who basically did it, and then everyone else who was building up towards it and helped those people get there, in a way, I guess, would kind of feel left out from that spotlight or whatever. So that's why I feel like most people probably wouldn't even want to try and start building towards it. There's also the pretty good likelihood that it wouldn't work out in the end. Like people could try to do it and then it just, it just flops anyways. Which is just that's always the risk of creating content on YouTube, I guess. But in this community, it probably hurt even more because people always tell you like, oh yeah, if your content's better than everyone else, you'll do fine, And then if you try to do it and your content probably sees even less viewership than it did before when you were just making slop or whatever, it probably would feel pretty bad. Another thing that I feel like probably would hold it back is that this game could just die in the next couple of years. I honestly didn't think we'd even make it to year 10 because they gave us the year 9 roadmap like 2 seasons into year 9. I didn't even think we're gonna get to year 10. Apparently, we've got another year in us, guaranteed at least according to the roadmap we got. It still doesn't mean that we're guaranteed like another year after year 10. I'm not really sure if year 11 is a thing that is given. I mean, I would love to hear you guys' thoughts as people who consume and or create. I don't know if there's any creators who will see this. For people who consume For Honor content, on why you think it would be possible or wouldn't be possible. I'm not trying to like engagement bait here. I'm legitimately trying to create a discussion because I'm not really sure if the things I have to say are too pessimistic or too optimistic. I feel like I'm a little bit more on the pessimistic side, but I think I am being realistic at the very least. But yeah, I'm not gonna bore you with an outro. That's the end of the video. Bye.